Hey guys, welcome back to another edition of the Three Man Weave. Sorry that yesterday's did not save. We had a little technical difficulties here at Bankers Life Fieldhouse. We're back today. IU's run to a potential Big Ten championship ended today in a quarterfinal loss, 79-71. Wisconsin knocked off the Hoosiers, and it was the performance of Rob Wilson. Came into the game, had scored 36 points during his junior season. He's a senior now. He had averaged 3.2 points per game, and he went off for 30. It was an unbelievable effort by him. Played 32 minutes, and that was really the difference. He knocked down big shot for big shot in the second half, 7 of 10 from behind the arc, and IU really had no answer for a kid that was probably 6th or 7th on the scouting report for the Hoosiers. Connor, besides Wilson's effort, what else did you see from this game? The reason the Hoosiers could not finish off that comeback in the second half.
I mean, they really just didn't defend the three ball. You look at what IU was able to do early on, and yes, Wisconsin got off to a great start. They hit 6 threes in the first 8 minutes of the game, and really, it was like, can Wisconsin keep shooting like this? A lot of people didn't think that they'd be able to, but Wisconsin just hit big three after big three, and whether it was Wilson, whether it was Gasser, whoever it was, they were able to beat IU from long range. And it was a game where IU did not show up defensively the way that they needed to. I think they were expecting Wisconsin to maybe work a little bit deeper into the shot clock and not necessarily settle for outside jumpers the way that they did. But Wisconsin made them, and you're going to run into teams like this in the tournament, especially these hungry mid-majors that can shoot from deep. And if you don't defend them, they can make them. And Rob Wilson, give him credit because the kid played out of his mind today, but he hit a lot of wide open shots, and that's defense. That's not saying IU didn't go out and try and defend him on certain instances, but whether it was game planning or whatever it was, IU needs to defend the three better, and if they don't, they're going to be an early exit in the NCAA tournament.
And his effort was needed because Jordan Taylor, once again, IU did a solid job on the All Big Ten point guard. I believe he was 3 of 12 on the afternoon and really battled foul trouble all throughout. Avi, looking big picture, Big Ten tournament, you kind of just look at it, you're kind of just playing with money pretty much. It doesn't mean anything. It could affect their seeding definitely in terms of being sent out west or being sent close to home, but you just kind of look at it as big picture, 25-8 going to the tournament.
At the end of the day, the scoreboard reads Big Ten tournament 1, IU -1. IU leaves Indianapolis down a senior leader, and they got a win against Penn State, which really couldn't do anything but hurt their resume if they lost. The win doesn't really, help them all that much. Overall, it was just not a very good experience for the Hoosiers in the Big Ten tournament. And you know what? I don't think anybody was except for Pat Forty, I don't know if anybody was really expecting IU to go all the way in this thing. Certainly they were on a big-time run. I forget how many straight wins it was, but, entering seven.
7 of 8, I believe.
Entering the tournament. But Wisconsin, is not a team that you can just look at and say, IU's going to. This team, IU had trouble with them in Madison, and then it's just a very tough matchup. Cody Zeller, once again, although he did get 17 points, only grabbed down 1 rebound and
career low.
Jared Bergeron's length really affected him.
The kid almost had a double-double. He was 1 rebound shy of it. So, I thought that IU doesn't really match up that well with Wisconsin, and that kind of showed today, and certainly you don't want to be in the same bracket with them, in a couple weeks.
I thought the pace definitely favored IU, though. Coming into the game, IU was averaging a Big Ten high 72.8 points per game. Wisconsin defensively led the Big Ten with 57.1 allowed, and I thought, from the start, this is a high-paced game. It kind of slowed down maybe a little bit late, but that's to be expected coming down the stretch. Guys, let's talk a little bit about Verdell Jones' injury. Everybody knows by now he tore his ACL. He will not play the rest of the season. The minutes for me divvied up. How many Jordan Holes played tonight?
29.
29.
Remy played a lot off the bench.
Yeah, Remy played 15.
Matt Roth had 12.
And I thought Remy was strong in stretches, but it's a different animal for every player on this IU roster playing in the NCAA tournament, and for Remy as well, because he's the kind of the least highly touted of any of the players
He's a freshman.
probably on IU's roster, especially out of the freshman class. And for me, if I'm Tom Crean, it's almost like you need to grab Jordan Holes and say, Jordan, you're going to play 35 minutes during the tournament. We're going to need you. The ball's going to be in your hands, and we're going to win with you or win without you, pretty much. He will be on the floor, but how Jordan Holes goes, to me, that's how IU is going to go in the tournament. Today, he hit so many big shots in the second half to keep IU within striking distance, but then late, he didn't really find his shot in those final few minutes, and to me, that was the difference. So I'm Tom Crean. I say, here you go, number one. Here's the ball. Lead us to however far you can go.
But to me, I don't think that's on Jordan Holtz. I think that's on Tom Crean. I think Tom Crean needs to look in the mirror and say, all right, I need to leave this kid for 35. I need to leave him in for 35
Which is something
minutes.
he's not used to doing. I mean, he subs
doesn't
at will.
at all.
Right.
He subs a lot, and he is not the type of guy that's going to leave a kid in there for 38 minutes. He loves having depth, and he loves being able to utilize it. But you know what? You don't have as much depth anymore, and you need to see whether or not your upperclassmen can step up and play big minutes for you, because that's what you're dealt with. That's the hand you're dealt with, and you got to adjust. And today was the perfect example of. I really do think that Crean got out coached today by Bo Ryan. Not to call out Crean's effort necessarily long term, but I think today was a good example of Bo Ryan drawing up a better game plan necessarily than what Crean did. And you know what, it showed. And when you have a guy that comes out and puts up a performance like that, it's hard not to pin it a little bit to coaching and game planning.
And it was a weird game because IU, this is the most points that Wisconsin has allowed in a win this year. And it's kind of like you got the feeling that, okay, IU's like creeping back into this one. Wisconsin was never really...
You were waiting for the dagger from
Right.
IU.
Right.
You were waiting for IU to take the lead in this place, though.
And they never did.
Right, and it was answer response, or well, those are synonyms, but you know what I'm saying.
Wisconsin answered every run IU.
Right, pretty much. And one other thing, and just to touch on the whole backcourt depth issue, and today was a day when Victor Oladipo did not have himself a good day.
This whole tournament.
2 for 12.
2 for 12. I mean, he shot it a lot, and a lot of those bunnies, like right up there, just
Just
couldn't get
erratic
the
in the lane. It seems.
one of those two made buckets was just a simple putback, and so this was a day where when you're not clicking on all cylinders in guard play, and Jordan Holtz certainly got he had stretches. Obviously, he tied a team high with 17 points, but absolutely guys like Remy Bell have to step up now.
And I think Victor's going to have to handle the ball in the half court, too. And you kind of worry about where he's at going into the tournament because, like Connor said, he did not play well against Penn State on Thursday. And, guys, I guess last thing we'll kind of end on, this was the Big Ten tournament I don't think IU expected at all. Personally, I thought they would make the championship game. I thought this was a good matchup for them in the quarterfinals to avenge the earlier season loss. It was pretty much Assembly Hall North. I mean, this place was packed, loud. The Big Ten has got to be so happy they had IU for 2 days.
Sellout.
And it's a sellout for the rest of the tournament, so now they don't really care that they don't have to have that IU's not here anymore. Going forward, is this the game that maybe places IU out west? I know none of us are Joe Lenardi or Jerry Palm or any of these people, but if you guys had to guess, let's just throw out a seed and a destination. I'll go first. I'll say Ford and Albuquerque. I'll say this was the game that Wisconsin will be placed somewhere closer to home, maybe Omaha, maybe Nashville, and I think this is the game that sends IU out west in the first round. A possible matchup maybe with, I don't know, St. Mary's or whoever. Yeah, St. Mary's probably higher than a 12 seed or whatever IU is, but I'll say 4 and out west to Albuquerque.
I'll say 4 and out west to Portland. But make no mistake about it, IU lost to a better team today. Wisconsin is the better team.
IU might have a better resume.
They might have a better resume, you're right. Wisconsin is a
Right.
better team. IU fans are used to this team pulling off upsets and stuff like that, but you know what? Sometimes a neutral site game, you lose to a better team. It happens. That's college basketball.
It's the only team that IU's gone 0-2 against in the Big Ten this year. So. And then my prediction, I'm going to say 4. I still think that their resume carries them a little bit closer to home, and I will go ahead and say Columbus.
Gotcha. Yeah, it will be interesting to see
I hope.
how they look at those resumes. Because as humans sitting in that room, it's hard to say this game. Because IU and Wisconsin, you got to think are right next to each other. Unless the Badgers
A
go
lot
on
of
and
good
win
wins for IU.
tomorrow, and you got to think sitting in that room, they're going to look at each other and be like, Wisconsin just beat them on a neutral floor, I guess you can say, but it was pretty much a home game for IU. So we will have a live chat on Sunday. We'll post that up there sometime Sunday afternoon. And we'll have a live chat during Selection Sunday looking at where IU's going, who's in IU's little mini 4-team region, as the Hoosiers will be in the NCAA tournament for the first time since 2008. They did not make it to their first Big
Bold
Ten
prediction,
semifinal since 2006, though. So for Connor O'Gara, Avi Zalen, Kevin Bowen, we will see you Sunday in the live chat, HoosierHype.com, and have a good one, guys.